Hi everyone, my name is Buddy Seiner, aquatic education contractor with the South Dakota Game Fish and Parks. I'm also the resident fly fishing and fly tying instructor. Today I'm going to talk about leader setups for fly fishing. I get a lot of questions about what kind of leaders to use, especially when chasing warm water species like bass, walleye, northern pike, catfish, carp, and I'm going to show you my standard setup for fishing Missouri River, glacial lakes, and any other water body for warm water species in the country and in the world. This leader system is the only one I use and it works really well. So to start, I use a 3-line system, a 3-diameter system. I use a good 30-pound monofilament or a cheap 30-pound monofilament for the butt section. I use a 20-pound section for the middle of that. And I use a good 12-pound fluorocarbon system for the tippet section of that leader. And that's really important for the tippet because fluorocarbon is a little bit more abrasion resistant. It sinks a little bit faster than monofilament, and it's a little more clear in the water, and that's why I use it for the tippet section. Now you're going to use a really thick section, a 30 or 40 pound for the butt, because that is directly what's connected to the fly line, and you want that to be as close to the fly line diameter as possible, because when you're fly fishing, you're throwing your fly line. That's the weighted part of the rig. You're not throwing your jig or your fly, because that's usually a very light-weighted thing. You're throwing your fly line, and that in turn is carrying your leader system and then your fly out to the water and out ultimately to the fish. Now you want this butt section to be as close to the diameter of that fly line so that it turns over with your fly line. As your fly line turns over from the back cast to the forward cast, you want that leader to continue unfurling onto the water and ultimately carry that fly out onto the water. So that's why I'm using a good thick 30-pound mono. I'm also using mono because in all the tests that I've done, monofilament is way stronger in that loop knot. And the strength of that loop knot is way stronger than fluorocarbon. I found that just in testing it. It holds a lot stronger and it doesn't break as often. So monofilament it is for me. Mono, fluorocarbon. Okay, my arms are about 6 feet in length, so I use my arms to measure all my line. So I pull it out about this far. I'm going to do a 3-foot section, a 3-foot butt section. So I'm going to take it in the middle, trim it with a good set of clippers. I'm going to do the same thing with the 20-pound monofilament. Stretch it out. I'm going to go about halfway in between there. I'll take 3 feet of that. And then I like a longer leader because you can always take leaders down. So I do a 6-foot piece of fluorocarbon. So that's the whole thing. Maybe add a foot or two onto that. And this is going to vary depending upon your conditions. If it's really windy out, you might want to shorten this a little bit. Again, you can do that on the water. I always start with a 6-foot piece, so I'll have a 12-foot leader when all is said and done. You're going to start with your 30-pound to 20-pound. So I'm going to create an X with these two lines, and I'm going to wrap the lighter diameter line first. On the left side here, I'm going to wrap it 4 times with this heavy diameter line. It seems like that works the best. So you wrap it away from yourself 4 times around the thicker mono. Then you're going to bring it over the top and use your index finger and your thumb to pinch those 2 lines together. Bring it over the top and in between the next 2 sections. Okay, so they're essentially it's going to be sandwiched in between those other 2 sections. And you're going to use your thumb and your index finger to hold that together. Then you're going to take your heavier mono and wrap again away from you over the top of the next section 4 times. And then you're going to tuck that. There's a small hole right in the middle there. You're going to tuck that right through the middle. Now this is the toughest part of tying what is a blood knot, is grabbing all of the sections at the same time and pulling them all together to seat the knot. So I grab the top with my teeth, I grab the left with my left hand, and then I grab the bottom and the right section with my right hand. And then you're going to pull all of these lines at the same time and watch the knot as it comes together to make sure it's coming together properly. I'll show you how I do that. So I grab all the sections, get a nice secure hold, and then you kind of look down at the knot while you're tying and pull them all together. Okay? You should have an S-shaped line coming vertically through that blood knot, and then some squigglies there along the edge. This is the most important, is moistening the knot before you secure it. I use saliva. Get it good and moist, and then you can pull it together. It should really come together nicely. Then you really want to crank on it. The thing I love about the blood knot is that it has 100% knot strength, and it has a really small profile on the line. Pre-manufactured leaders, they come stretched. It's basically heated and stretched mono. But a blood knot is as close as you can get to a really thin profile on your line. Take a good set of nippers and trim the excess tags right at the right where they meet the knot, and then really crank on it to make sure that's good. That's 100% knot strength right there. Then you can take a bottle of super glue when you're done with that knot, and actually just put a dab of super glue on it, and that will further strengthen that knot and close off any gaps. I'm going to finish up here, put the next tippet on here, which is our 6-foot section of 12-pound fluorocarbon. Again, the lighter section of line is going to go over the top of the X, and I'm going to wrap that one first. And because it has a smaller diameter, I'm going to actually wrap this 5 times. Found that to work a little bit better. Go over the top and in between the next 2 sections, pinch it all together. Then I'm going to wrap that 20-pound 4 times. Again, I always wrap the heavier diameter lines 4 times. Grab them all, pull them together, watch the knot come together nicely, get it nice and wet, pull it tight, really crank on it, and then trim these close. Now you're almost done with your perfect warm water leader. The only thing we need to add is a loop-to-loop connection to connect it to your fly line. Most pre-manufactured leaders come with these nowadays. So double your line over at the butt section and give yourself about 6 inches. And then right in the middle of that section, just do an overhand knot 2 times. All right, and then begin to pull that tight. I like to leave about a pinky size loop in the end. Really crank on it and then really pull it down. If you have a good set of pliers, also take some pliers and pull on this tag end. I'm just going to use my teeth, so really pull that down and seat that knot. And that's a super strong knot. The double surgeon's knot, for me, it works better in all the tests that I've made. It works better than a perfection loop. So I use a double surgeon's every time, and I've never had one fail with this 30-pound monofilament. So that completes the perfect warm water fly fishing leader setup. This is the one I use everywhere, and it will probably, hopefully, help you catch more fish on your fly rod in the Missouri River, glacial lakes, anywhere in the world you want to use a fly rod to catch a warm water fish species.